Krishna. So today, before we go to our new sloka, let's revise the previous slokas that we have done. So as we saw, this chapter had 4 divisions. Anybody can recollect what are the 4 divisions of the chapter?
Yeah, 1 and 2 are setting the scene.
Okay.
Then from shlokas 3 to 13 is Duryodhana's diplomacy.
Mhm.
Then Krishna Parthasarthi victory is certain, which is from 14th to 21st.
Mhm.
Then Achitya, the infallible Krishna from 21 to 26. And then Arjuna's reason not to fight from 27 to 40.
Okay. So in the previous class, we saw setting of the scene, and we also saw a little bit of diplomacy, which is shown by Duryodhana. So the very first sloka says, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsava mamaka pandavashaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya. Sanjaya could see everything that is happening in the battle, even though Hastinapur is located 100 kilometers away from Kurukshetra. By the special mercy of his guru, Vyasadev, he got a vision of seeing all the scenes that is happening in the battlefield. Not only seeing, he could also hear the conversation of each and every person in the battlefield. Can you imagine how Sanjaya could tackle that much? In our case, even if we are hearing 4 or 5 people talking, we cannot focus on what we are supposed to do. But Sanjaya could hear everything that was happening. He could clearly hear the conversation that happened between Duryodhana and Dronacharya, between Krishna and Arjuna. So everything was very clear. And now Dhritarashtra was having a doubt because it is a Dharma Kshetra, it is a pious place. So he was wondering what in case if his sons, by the influence of the holy place, will go on a compromise and will give the kingdom to Pandavas. Because by hire, Pandavas were the rightful heirs of the kingdom. If at all there is a compromise, so the kingdom would likely go to Pandavas. So he was afraid, what in case Duryodhana, without fighting, will give up the kingdom to Pandavas and set back against the battle. But then in the next sloka, Sanjaya said, Drishtva tum Pandavanikam vyudham Duryodhanastata Acharyam upasamgamya Raja Vachanam Abravit. He says, Dhritarashtra, don't worry, the fighting will happen. And he's also telling Duryodhana as Raja here, just to give little bit of motivation to Dhritarashtra, because he could understand that Dhritarashtra was not in a very stable mind, and because he's already a very old person. So telling the truth that, this battle is going to be the victory for Pandavas, which Sanjaya anyway knows because Krishna was by their side, but he's the secretary of Dhritarashtra. He could not speak the truth. So just to give him a little bit of protsahan, he's saying that Raja Vachanam Abravit. He's already calling Duryodhana as a Raja. And he was saying all the Pandavas' army are already assembled. So do not worry, the war will happen. And then in the next sloka, Pashaitam Panduputranam Acharyam Magatim Chamum Vyudham Dripata Putrena Tava Shishena Dhimata. Here, Duryodhana is approaching his teacher, Dronacharya. And what is he saying? Drishtva tu Pandava Nikam. I am seeing your army very nicely arranged. And Pandavas were your own students. And in spite of being your own students, they learned from you and they are showing the intelligence against you. Tavashishena dhimata. They are your own student and look how intelligent they became. And this particular vyudam, this vyuha is arranged by Drishtadumna, who is son of Drupada. In the last class, we saw that there was an enmity between Drupada and Dronacharya. So, just to kindle the anger of Dronacharya, Duryodhana very tactfully says, Drupada Putrena. Instead of saying Drishtadumna, he is saying Drupada Putrena because he wants to remind Duryodhana about the enmity which he had with Drupada. And also, Drishtadumna was particularly born from the sacrificial fire. The day he was born, he came with his chariot, he came with his armor, he came with all his weapons. And the voice from the sky said that Drishtadumna is the one who is going to kill Dronacharya. And Dronacharya knew very well that Drishtadumna will kill him. But still, when Drishtadumna approached him to become the student of the military arts, Dronacharya did not refrain from teaching him. So this is how the glories of the Vedic culture that we can see. They know that the death is certain, but they know that the goal of the life is to obtain the Lord. So they were gracefully taking up the death. They were not very scared of death. And also we saw that Yudhishthira was showing a very, very great etiquette. He went to Dronacharya, Bhishma Pita and Kripacharya, and he took their blessings. He told them, please give us a benediction that we will win against the war. So Bhishma said that you guys don't have any capacity to win the war, but because you came and took the blessings from me, I give you a blessing that you will win against us in this war. He said, had you not done this, we would have rather cursed you. So from this, we can understand how our etiquette should be towards our superiors, towards our parents, towards our grandparents, towards our teachers. So we should always take the blessings of the Guru. That's why we start with the Mangalacharan by taking the blessings of the Guru. Okay. So can we go to the today's slokas? So let us see the further diplomacy of Duryodhana in the forthcoming slokas. Please repeat after me. Atra Shura Maheshwasa
अत्र शूरा महिष्वासा
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi
भीमार्जुन समायुधि
Yudhano Viratasya
युधानो
Viratasya
विराटस्य
Dripadasya Maharata
Drupadasha
महारथ
Atra Shura Maheshwasa
Atra
अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi
Bhima
भीमार्जुन समायुधि
Yudhano Viratasya
Yuyudhano
युधानो विराटस्य
Dripadasya Maharata
Drupadasha
महारथ
Atra Shura Maheshwasha
Atra
अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi
भीमार्जुन समायुधि
Yudhano Viratasya
Yuyudhano
युधानो
Dripadasya Maharata.
द्रुपदस्य महारथ
Anybody would like to give a try for this recitation?
I can
in this
I can
army are
yeah.
many
No,
heroic.
one time the sloka. The sloka. Would anybody
Okay,
like to
sure.
recite the sloka?
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Atra Shura Maheshwasa
Tatra Shura Maheshwasa
Bhima Arjun Samayudhi
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi
Yuyudhano Viratasya
Yudhano Viratasya
Drupadasya Maharatha
Dripadasya Maharata. We will do one more sloka and we will take the commentary of both the slokas together today. Okay. Drishtadumno Chekitana
Drishtaketu
दृष्टकेतुश्चेकितान
Chekitana
Chekitana
Kashi Rajasya Viryavan
Kashi
काशीराजस्य
Rajasya
वीर्यवान्
Purujit Kunti Bojasya
Purujit Kunti Bhojasya
Shaibyasya Narapungava
Shaibasya
Drishtaketu Chekitana
Drishtaketu
चेकितान
Kashi Rajasya Viryavan
काशीराजस्य भीमा
Purujit Kunti Bojasya
Purujit
Kunti
Bhojasya
Shaibyasya Narapungava
Shaibasya Pungava
Drishtaketu Chekitana
दृष्टकेतु चिकितान
Kashirajasya Viryavan
काशीराजश्च वीर
Purujit Kunti Bhojascha
पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च
Shaibhyascha Narapungava.
Shebashya Narapungava.
Anybody would like to take a recitation? Any other Matajis? I know Shweta Mataji is always ready to volunteer, but anybody else would like to?
दृष्टकेतु चेकितानः
Drishtaketu Chekitana
काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान्
Kashirajasya Viryavan
चित्कुन्तिभोजश्च
Purujit Kunti Bhojasya
शैबश्च नरपुङ्गवः
Shaibhyascha Narapungava. So one more sloka we'll be doing. We will do that recitation also. Yudhamanyusha Vikranta
Yudhamanyushya Vikranta
Uttamaushansha Viryavan
Uttamojasya Viryavan
Saubhadro Draupadeyansha
Saubhadro Draupadyascha
Sarva Eva Maharata
Sarva Eva Maharatha
Yudhamanyusha Vikranta
Yudhamanyushya Vikranta
Uttamaushansha Viryavan
Uttamojasya Viryavan
Saubhadro Draupadeyansha
Saubhadro Draupadyascha
Sarva Eva Maharata
Sarva Eva Maharatha
Yudhamanyusha Vikranta
Yudhamanyushya Vikranta
Uttamaushansha Viryavan
Uttamojasya Viryavan
Saubhadro Draupadeyansha
Saubhadro Draupadyascha
Sarva Eva Maharata.
Sarva Eva Maharatha
Anybody would like to give the try for recitation of this?
युद्धामन्यश्च विक्रान्त
Yudhamanyusha Vikranta
उत्तमौजश्च वीर्यवान्
Uttamaushansha Viryavan
सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयश्च
Saubhadro Draupadeyascha
सर्व एव महारथा
Sarva Eva Maharata. So now translation and purport. Who would like to read it?
I can do
I'll read
that.
it.
Yes, Mataji.
लेखा माता जी आप पढ़िए
From
Oh,
the
okay.
beginning, you
Did one
start
can
with
read
the
this
fourth.
one?
Translation 4, one of you read, 5, one of you read, 6, one of you can read.
Okay. So here in this army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yuyudhava,
Yudhana,
Yuyudhana, Virata, and Draupada.
Drupada.
Yeah, sorry, Drupada. You want to read purport also?
Yeah, purport also, yes.
Purport. Even though Drishtadyumna was not a very important obstacle in the face of Dronacharya's very great power in the military art, there were many others who were causes of fear. They are mentioned by Duryodhana as great stumbling blocks on the path of victory because each and every one of them was as formidable as Bhima and Arjuna. He knew the strength of Bhima and Arjuna and thus he compared the others with them.
Yeah. Sloka 5.
There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashi Raja, Purujit, Kuntibhoja, and Shaibya. Shaibya.
Yeah, and last one also.
There are the mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamauja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Okay. So let us go a little bit more on this commentary. So here Duryodhana started listing the great heroes from the side of Pandus. Atra Shura Maheshwasha. They were holding great bows, and Duryodhana could understand that it is going to be difficult. What did he first think? He thought that it is going to be an easy fight because they were sent for 13 years in exile and one more year of incognito. So they lost everything. So they thought that they may not have much power in their side. But seeing many of the great heroes, he could understand. The fear started getting into Duryodhana. So here Bhima and Arjuna are mentioned, right? Bhima, Arjuna, they are all equal to Bhima and Arjuna. So according to Mahabharata and Acharya, Arjuna was the biggest archer. For Duryodhana, the biggest fear is Bhima. That's why his name is mentioned first. Why Duryodhana was more afraid of Bhima? He thought that Karna was there to tackle Arjuna because Karna did show his power against Arjuna sometimes. But he had problem with Bhima right from his childhood. He was the strongest of Pandus. We all know, right? Bhimsen was very strong, right? He had a capacity to easily defeat single-handedly all the 100 Kauravas. Whose son was Bhima?
Kunti's.
No, Kunti's, but Kunti with?
Pandu.
Yeah, he was Vayu's son.
Yeah,
He was
Vayu's son,
Vayu's
correct.
Yeah,
son.
Kunti had a benediction of having the children through the demigods, which she got it from Durvasa Muni. Once when Durvasa Muni came to the Kunti's kingdom, Kunti served Durvasa Muni so nicely that he gave her a power that she can call for a demigod and she can have a children through them. So Bhima was born to Kunti through Vayu. So he is the Vayu Putra. And we know Vayu is a very powerful Devata. Vayu has shown his power in many instances. So that's why Bhima is very strong because Pandu had a curse, right? He could not uh, get into any intimate relation with his wives because he was cursed for that. And so, anyway, the dynasty should go. So, Kunti had to call the demigod so that she could have the children.
So none of the kids are Pandus.
Yeah, but none of them were there. But Kunti's other co-wife, what's her name?
Mandri.
Yeah,
Mandri.
Madhvi. Yeah, she was having, because she had a connection with Pandu. That is the time where Pandu died. And
Right.
Nakula and Shahadeva were born
Okay.
because she had a connection, because he had a connection with his wife Madhri. He passed away because he was cursed.
Okay.
Okay, so Bhima had no concept of fear. He did not even know what fear means. He knew the word fear only from the dictionary. Like, for example, if you have not eaten some dish, we cannot understand how it tastes. Before tasting something, can we understand how does it taste? So similarly, for Bhima, the fear is something that he did not know what it was. So in childhood competition, Bhima could easily defeat Duryodhana. Both of them were the disciple of Lord Balaram in Gadayuddha. See, they were the student of Balaram to learn the Gadayuddha. Tactically, Duryodhan was powerful than Bhima. However, by strength, Bhima was very powerful. Therefore, Duryodhana was very scared of Bhima. As Kshatriya, he was supposed to fight. Duryodhana, suppose he wants to tackle his cousins, how he should tackle? He is a Kshatriya. So how does a Kshatriya gain victory? What is the glory of a Kshatriya? By fighting, isn't it? However, Duryodhana did not follow the behavior of a Kshatriya. He tried to poison the cake which Bhima had once. And this showed a very, very low class mentality of Duryodhana. He knew that by fighting, it will be very difficult for him to win against his cousins Pandavas. Because Duryodhana, right from his childhood, he was always envious against his cousin. And Dhritarashtra also wanted his own children to be the higher of the kingdom. So, yes, now the war is happening. But even before that, they tried so many methods to deceive Pandavas, but nothing could affect them. But however, he never admitted that action. Although he poisoned the food that he gave to Bhima, but he never admitted. But everybody knew that he tried to deceive. So now, after taking the food which had poison, Bhima became unconscious and he fell into the lake. In the lake, there were Nagas, and they were very poisonous snake, and they bit Bhima. However, the good thing is that the poison from the Nagas became an antidote to the poison that Bhima took from the food. So therefore, Bhima got a power that he could never be killed by any poison. Because Krishna was by their side. Krishna says in Bhagavadgita, chapter 9, text 30, 29, I think, Kaunteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranishyati. He is telling to Arjuna, oh Arjuna, go and tell everybody that Kaunteya means the son of Kunti, name bhakta pranishyati, my devotee never perishes. So Krishna has shown this. Not only that he has said that, but every time Krishna is shown how he protected his devotees. Not only that, in the training place, Duryodhana had an iron cast of Bhima and he was hitting him every day. So you can understand how hateful he was towards Bhima. So, and Duryodhana's fear against Bhima became much more after the infamous gambling game. So Duryodhana could not defeat Pandavas directly by fighting or against other tricks. He tried many methods. He tried to set their house in fire. He tried to give them poison. So many methods he adapted, but none of them worked. So he decided to trick Pandavas by gambling, taking the help of his uncle. Who was his uncle? Shakuni, who was very expert in cheating. Everyone knew that he's cheating, but no one can prove him. He was so expert that in spite of his cheating, he can never be caught. So Duryodhana challenged Pandavas for gambling match. But some people may say that why does Yudhishthira has to accept it when they know that, these people are going to cheat. But it is a duty of the Kshatriya to respond to challenges. When a Kshatriya is challenged, he cannot back out. He has to respond to this. So they invited Pandavas for the gambling match. So by cheating, as the gambling was progressing, they were losing everything one by one. First, they were losing their wealth, then they were losing their kingdom, then they were losing their properties. Literally, they lost everything and they lost themselves also. And finally, they even lost, whom did they lose? Draupadi, yes. They lost Draupadi also. And Bhima wanted to fight against Duryodhana, but Bhima is very, very angry by nature. So he could not accept this act when Draupadi was also being lost. So he wanted to fight against Duryodhana immediately, but Yudhishthira stopped because he is Dharma personified. He said, my dear, we lost the gambling, so we have to obey to them. We cannot fight against them. That is against the Dharma. But Bhima was grinding his teeth. He was so angry that, he was grinding his teeth. And he took a vrata that he is going to kill all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. So Bhima has already taken a vow. So then, Duryodhana's fear against Bhima further increased. And Dushashana was told to bring Draupadi. And when this activity happened, Draupadi was in her periods. And in the Vedic civilization, women during the periods, they stay in a secluded place. They don't even show their face against the elders. They don't visit the temples. They just sit in a single room where they just wear a piece of cloth, and until the contamination is over, they just stay over there and they take a sacred bath and then they come out of that room. But Drishashana, he was so evil-minded that he dragged her, in spite of she resisting to come she was dragged in the assembly of the king. It was very, very insulting for Draupadi because she was a pious lady. And how was Draupadi born? Draupadi was born from
Fire, sacrificial
fire. Yes. After Drishtadumna was born, Draupadi was also born in the same sacrificial fire. So she is such a powerful lady, and she felt this action to be very, very insulting on her. And not only that, Duryodhana, he lifted his dhoti and he showed his thighs and asked her, "Now you please sit on me." So this shows a very, very, very low class behavior of Duryodhana, even lower than a drunkard. So such a low class behavior was shown by Duryodhana. So before anyone could say anything, Bhima told that he would break his thigh. So what is the second vow he took? He would break his thigh because he wanted Draupadi to sit on his thighs. So the first vow, what is the first vow Bhima took?
That he would kill all the Kauravas.
Yeah, second vow is he will break his thighs. So she did not want to come in front of the elders in such a situation. Therefore, Dushasana pulled her hair and dragged her in the assembly. And we know that he did not stop with that. What else he did?
He disrobed her.
He tried to disrobe her. But Draupadi called out to Krishna. He called Keshava, Madhava, Madhusudana. And then Krishna protected her with unlimited saris. So even here, when Draupadi was initially calling Krishna, she was holding her sari pallu in one hand, and with other hand, she was calling, "Hey Madhava, hey Keshava, hey Murali, hey Madhusudana." But then Krishna did not come. And as long as Draupadi completely surrendered by taking her two hands and calling out, Krishna came. So here we can also relate ourselves like Draupadi. So many times we are doing bhakti, we are trying to surrender to Krishna. We know that Krishna is the one who can protect us and everything, whatever he wishes is going to happen. But how many times we think that we also should take care of ourselves? Is that mentality not within us? So from this incident, we need to understand that we need to completely surrender to Krishna. When Draupadi completely surrendered to Krishna, did Krishna did not come for their protection? He did, right? So now Bhima took his third vow. So what is the third vow he took? I will pluck the hand that touched Draupadi. Whose hand he is going to pluck now?
Dushasan.
Dushasan. And then I will pluck his heart, drink the blood, and with that blood I will wash Draupadi's hairs. So such a heavy vow he took. What is the third vow? Pluck the hands. And fourth vow is pluck the heart, drink the blood, and wash the blood with Draupadi's hairs with that blood. So she thought because she was touched by the sinner, only by washing her hair with the sinner's blood, she will be okay. Even Draupadi, because she is the wife of a Kshatriya, even she thought that, she was touched by such a big sinner. So only by doing this activity, she will be atoned of that sin. It was such a heavy vrata. That's why Draupadi used to always call out Bhima, because other husbands were like, okay, like Yudhishthir was telling, we lost, now we have to follow the dharma, like that. But Bhima was one person who could not tolerate any kind of nonsense, so she was always relying on Bhima to take out this anger upon them. And Draupadi, being the wife of Kshatriya, said that she will not tie the hair until she washes it with the blood. Then only she thought that she will be considered pure and free from the sin. So that is why even the women in the Vedic civilization do not let the hair free, because when Draupadi let the hair free, it means that she has undergone a lot of apaman, and because of that she let her hair free. So in the Vedic civilization, a woman is always supposed to tie her hair, so she cannot let her hair loose. So can you imagine Bhima did that? The battle was going on. When Bhima caught Dushasana, he immediately plucked his hand, tore his heart and was drinking the blood and was dancing with joy. Ah, ha, 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 ha. He was dancing with joy, and everybody was afraid of Bhima. They were thinking, what happened to Bhima? Is he gone mad? Is he gone crazy? Why is Bhima behaving so abnormally? And then Bhima took the blood and washed Draupadi's hairs with that. And even his own brothers, they got shocked. So now we can understand the impact of a person who committed sin. So how he was Dushashan, he did such a heavy sin that he has to suffer for it. So now Pandavas, they were in 13 years in exile and 1 year in incognito. You can understand how Bhima's anger became more and more. He was holding for such a long time that it got burst out. Why it happened this way? Because it was just not 1 year or 2 years. 14 years Bhima was holding the anger and it just burst out. When they were suffering in the exile, Bhima used to ask permission from Yudhishthira to give him permission to go to Hastinapur, fight against the Kauravas and enthrone Yudhishthira. He was saying, please just send me alone. I don't even want to bother Arjuna, and I can just kill all of them at one shot and I can just enthrone you. Please help me to do that. But Yudhishthira said, we have to follow the dharma as we lost in the gambling. So now Yudhishthira said, okay, now see, the war is announced. So the license is given. He was like a person. Now Bhima was like a person who was chained and he was just removed from the chain. So in this battlefield, Bhima was running here and there. Although there were so many formations, he could not hold himself as he has given vow to Draupadi. There was a last moment of peace negotiation. We know that those who have read Mahabharata or heard Mahabharata, we know that there was always peace negotiation that was happening, right? So there was a last moment of peace negotiation, and it was almost finalized. The war was almost finalized, but Krishna still wanted to go to Hastinapur for negotiating peace. Pandavas knew that they will not listen, but Krishna wanted to go, so they agreed because they didn't want to do anything against Krishna. However, there is one person who did not agree for peace negotiations. Can you say who it was?
Bhim.
Bhim also agreed. Pandavas included Bhim also. When Krishna wanted to go for peace negotiation, one of them could not agree for that.
Out of Pandavas or from their
Yeah, Pandavas, but related to Pandavas.
Draupadi?
Draupadi, yes. Because she wanted to wash her hands with Dushasana's blood. So she was asking Krishna, why are you going for peace negotiation? She didn't want Krishna to go because she wanted to, wash her hands with Dushasana's blood because she was very, very angry with Dushasana. Can you imagine a lady in the periods who cannot even come out of the home, who just stays in one room? She is dragged in the assembly of elders and grandparents and everyone, and she was being tried to disrobe. Imagine what kind of insult it was on Draupadi, isn't it? So all the time, she was putting the fuel on Bhima. Bhima, remember what the vow you taken? Like sometimes we, the wives, we want something to be done by our husbands. We know how to talk, right? We keep telling them, remember what you have to do. So similarly, Draupadi was also trying to fuel Bhima. So now Duryodhana lists the next sloka. Can you read the next sloka once, the purport? Sorry, the translation. So there were great, heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kuntiboja, and Shaibya. And here also some more great fighters were listed: Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupata. So let us have a little bit of background about all these fighters. So there were 17 Maharathas which were listed in these three slokas. You can write down this. So in these three slokas, 17 Maharathas were listed. There 17. Were more, 17 Maharathas were there. And who is Maharatha?
Great warriors.
Yeah, who can fight, who can easily tackle at least
Thousands of people together.
10,000.
10,000.
10,000 soldiers. They are called Maharathas. So there were 17 Maharathas in the side of Pandavas. And more, Atirathas, Rathas, they are all in different cadre. Maharatha means like 10,000. Atiratha means half of 10,000, 5,000. Rathas means 1,000. So like that, there were so many powerful fighters in the side of Pandavas. So the first fighter's name which is mentioned is Yudhan. Yudhan is also known with the name Satyaki. You can write down that. Yudhan is known with the name Satyaki. Satyaki was the son of Satyaka. He was a charioteer of Krishna and he was very, very close to Krishna and chief of the Yadava army. He was a grandson of Shini. And Sheneya was his another name because being the grandson of Shini, he was also called Sheneya. And he was always with Krishna in the Dwaraka Leela. Wherever Krishna goes, Satyaki goes with him. The very name Yuyudhana means ready to fight. So he was always anxious to fight. The name Yuyudhana is given because as an adjective, glorifying his qualities. And he was an expert military captain. So Satyaki was a very, very powerful fighter. And not only that, he is very, very close to Krishna. And in Nectar of Devotion, there is an amazing statement made by Rupa Goswami about Krishna. He is called as magnanimous. Who is magnanimous? Who do you call as magnanimous? Why do you say a person to be magnanimous? We say, no, some people are magnanimous. Have you heard of this word?
They are huge.
Yes.
Huge in their work and
yeah, they can give
experience.
themselves to anyone. They can completely give themselves. That is called magnanimous. Okay. So example is Krishna is the supreme Lord and he is fully independent. Krishna says he is Swara, he is fully independent. Yet he was dependent on Garga Rishi for the religious instruction. Although he was supremely independent, but he showed his dependence in many things. So first dependence he showed was on Garga Muni. For the good counsel, Krishna depends on, you know who he was depending on? If you have read Krishna book, you must be knowing that.
Who was depending? Sorry, come again with the question.
No, for good counsel. If Krishna wants to get some counseling, whom he was depending on? He was depending on Uddhava.
Uddhava, yeah, his cousin.
And for learning military arts, he was dependent on Satyaki. So now you can understand how glorious is Satyaki. So Krishna himself learned military arts from Satyaki. And whom did Satyaki learn from? He learned from Arjuna. And whom did Arjuna learn from? Dronacharya. And not only that, Arjuna also learned from Indra. Indra is also Arjuna's father, Shiva, and other devatas also. So he was a biggest fighter. So Satyaki, you can understand how such a big fighter he was. He brought down Bhishma by Arjuna's effort. So it is Satyaki who brought down Bhishma by the efforts of Arjuna. So we know that Krishna went for peace negotiation to Hastinapur. With whom he went? He went with Satyaki. When Krishna went for peace negotiation, he went with Satyaki. And along with Satyaki, he went Vidura for some consultation on how to convince Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana to stop fighting. But all of them concluded that there was no hope. Although so many measures was taken to stop this war, but it all went on vain because what did Dhritarashtra thought? He thought he is more powerful, right? He thought that if at all the war will happen, he thought that the victory will be by their side. So when he went to the assembly to meet Dhritarashtra, he went with holding Satyaki in one hand and Vidura in another hand. So you can imagine how close was Satyaki with Krishna. He was holding both of them in each hand and he was going. Satyaki was very close to Krishna. He was very, very dear to Krishna as he was a very big devotee. So many times his name is mentioned in Krishna book, in Mahabharata, as well as in Srimad Bhagavatam. The name of Satyaki is mentioned in these literatures. And Satyaki was with Krishna when he went to have lunch with Vidura. When Dwaraka was in danger, as Salya was attacking it, remember that fight in Krishna book? If anybody have read about the Salya was trying to attack Dwaraka when Krishna was away. Yeah,
Yes.
that time who fought against Salya? It was Satyaki. In the absence of Krishna, it was Satyaki who fought against the Salya. So all the time, Satyaki was with Krishna. He's the best fighter. And there's a unique position of Satyaki is he sometimes used to give advice to Krishna. But many times he remained as a servant of Krishna by fanning his chamara. He was always fanning chamara for Krishna. In Vishnu Sahasranama, Baladev Vidya Vibhushan comments on Satyaki. When the Lord is addressed as Chaturbahu, you know there are 1,000 names in Vishnu Sahasranama. So one of the name of Vishnu is Chaturbahu. And Baladev Vidya Vibhushan says that Chaturbahu means, what does Chaturbahu means? Bahu means hand, Chaturbahu means four hands.
Okay.
And the four hands were Bhima, Arjuna, Satyaki and Uddhava. So the four hands of Krishna, who are the four hands of Krishna? Bhima, Arjuna, Satyaki and Uddhava. You can write down this. Because they were very, very close friends and devotees of Krishna. And Satyaki was also fighting with Bhanasura when Krishna was fighting with Shiva. If you have read the pastime of Bhanasura, you can remember the Satyaki who was fighting against Bhanasura while Krishna was fighting with Shiva. Okay, so this is a position of Satyaki. So although our main motive is not about Satyaki, but because he is such a great fighter, so we thought that we will also know a little bit about Satyaki. Okay, so the next person whom he mentioned,
So I'm
Yudhana,
sorry to,
Virata.
yeah, so Tanuja Mataji, in
Yeah.
so that is as per text 6, right? Text
Yes,
6,
Mataji.
the Satyaki, which the text
Satyaki is in the Yudhana is called Satyaki.
Oh, okay.
He's
The
in
other,
text 4. The other name of Yudhana's original name was Satyaki. He is called Yudhana because he was always anxious to fight.
Okay, got
Because
it.
of his glories, to describe his glories, his name is given as Yudhan.
Okay.
So
Thank
we
you.
were, Arjuna spoke about great fighters like Yudhano. So the next fighter's name whom he mentioned is Virata. So we are just taking a little bit of glimpse of about all these fighters. So Virata was the king of Matsya. And Pandavas, where did they spend their incognito period? Do you remember? It was in the Virat Rajya, in Matsya, in the kingdom of Matsya. So this is a place where Pandavas, they spend their incognito period. And the daughter of Virata was Uttara. And she learned dance from whom? Remember, Arjuna was taking a role of? When they were all in incognito stage. Remember, each and everyone, they were taking different role. Bhima took the role of cooking and Arjuna took the role of Brihatnala. He was teaching dancing, right? He was teaching the art of dance. And we know Uttara married Abhimanyu and Abhimanyu's son is Parikshit. So, yeah. So, and Virata was also with Pandavas with all his army. So, Virata took the side of Pandavas. Okay. So, Yudhana is done, Virata is done, and Drupata. We already spoke a lot about Drupata in the previous class. Again and again, why Duryodhana is taking the name of Drupata? Just to instigate Dronacharya. Remember? So, now you can understand the diplomacy of Duryodhana, right? Again and again, he's mentioning the Drupada's name. So, and the next sloka, some more fighters' name is mentioned, Drishtaketu. So he's also like one of the great fighter. And Chekitana was one of the Yadavas in Vrishni dynasty. You can write down. Chekitana was from Vrishni dynasty, and he was the chief of the Pandava army. But later in the war, Duryodhana killed him. He was killed by Duryodhana in the war. Chekitana. Okay. So after Chekitana, who comes? Kashi Raja. Kashi Raja is the king of Varanasi, and he was very, very valiant. And then next name comes as Purujit Kunti Bhojya. Purujit and Kunti Bhojya are the brothers of Kunti, the maternal uncle of Pandavas. Okay. And then whose name is mentioned? Shaibya. Shaibya is the father-in-law of Yudhishthir, and Devika was another wife of Yudhishthir. So Devika's father is Shaibya, and he also took the side of Pandavas. Okay, and so we can see that Shaibya, and they are called as Narapungava. Why they are called as Narapungava? Punga means bull. Narapungava means bull among the men. So they were all very, very great fighters. Like we call bull is very powerful, right? So the bull among the men. So that's why they were all addressed as Narapungava. Okay. Now the next set of fighters they mentioned on, there was mighty Yudhamanyu. Yudhamanyu is the prince of Panchala. And then the next that is mentioned is Yudhamanyu, Uttamauja, and Subhadra. Saubhadra. Saubhadra means the son of Subhadra is called Saubhadra. Who is the son of Subhadra?
Uttamaja.
No, Uttamauja is also another fighter.
Acha.
Yeah.
Subhadra Abhimanyu.
Subhadra, Abhimanyu. Yeah, Saubhadra. Abhimanyu is not called directly. Abhimanyu is called as Saubhadra, as a son of Subhadra. Is Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu is a 16-year-old boy who learned fighting from Balaram and Arjuna. And he had special affection for Krishna, and so was Krishna with him. He was an amazing hero because Subhadra is Krishna's sister. So sister's son is Abhimanyu. So paternal relation they have. So they both were loving with each other. So Abhimanyu was a very great fighter. So even Kauravas were aware of that. In spite of just being 16-year-old, he was also taking part in the battle. So it so happened one day that Kauravas, they were making some kind of a tactics to win against the Pandavas. So as a part of their tactics, they made Chaturvyuha. So this is a special military formation which is very, very complex. So Chaturvyu, yeah, Chaturvyu, yeah. So it is a very, very, this one, it is very, very difficult for anybody to penetrate. And tactfully, he kept Arjuna far, far away from Abhimanyu. And few of the Maharathas from their side, they were fighting against Arjuna. And as we know that Kshatriya has to accept the challenge. So Arjuna was dealing with the Maharathas. Now Abhimanyu was left alone on another side with some more Maharathas. And now they made this Chaturvyu so that they cannot penetrate. But Abhimanyu, he has heard from Arjuna talking to someone on how to enter the Chaturvyu. So Chakravyu, not Chaturvyuha, sorry, Chakravyu, I'm sorry. Chakravyu, he learned how to enter the Chakravyu, but there was one problem. He did not know how to come out. So, but all the other Maharathas were saying, they were giving, motivating Abhimanyu, don't worry, we will all follow you. As and when we enter, we will break all the Chakravyu so that you can easily come out. You just go and we will keep breaking the Chakravyu and then we will come out. So Abhimanyu, following their instruction, he was going layer by layer, one by one, he was going through the layer. But there was a Maharatha in the side of Kauravas, and his name was Jayavrata, who was the king of Sindhu. And he got a boon that he can defeat the Pandavas only for one day. So therefore, he defeated all the Maharathas. Because he got the power to defeat the Pandavas side, he defeated the Maharathas. He could not kill them, but he could defeat them. Now Abhimanyu was left all alone. All the Maharathas vanished. But still he fought very valiantly. He thought, let me prove I am the son of Arjuna. I am the nephew of Krishna. Let me show whom we are. He was fighting very, very valiantly. In one moment, even the Kauravas stopped. They were shocked seeing the fighting skill of Abhimanyu, which was even powerful than Arjuna himself. Abhimanyu, even though he was just 16 years old boy, he showed a massive fighting skills. And so what they did is, they did not follow the rules of the battle. So there were 7 Maharathas. So few of them that I could remember is Duryodhana, Dushashan. Dushashan was still alive that time, before he was killed by Bhima. So Dushashan was there, and Kripacharya was there, Dronacharya was there, and some more Maharathas. So all these 7 Maharathas, together they killed Abhimanyu, which is very, 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 very wrong, because one Maharatha should tackle only another Maharatha. And he was just a 16-year-old boy. In spite of that, they all joined together and then they killed. So after this, it so happened that there was no rules and regulation happening in the battle. After Abhimanyu was killed, initially, they made some rules and regulations for fighting in the battle. Now everybody, because once the rule is broken, so massive killing started happening in the Kurukshetra war. Okay, so this is about the Saubhatra. So all these warriors were the great fighters. So now I was also listening to Prabhupada's class on these slokas commentary. So Srila Prabhupada said that people may ask, by mentioning these great fighters' name, what spiritual progress we can make? Why? What is the need for us to mention all these great fighters, and what should we know? Because we are meant to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. What benefit we will get by taking the name of this chanting? So for that, Prabhupada said that Rupa Goswami has mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya Muchyate. So everything that is connected with Krishna is also Krishnized. So all these fighters, somewhere or the other, they were all connected with Krishna. So Krishna is the center. So hearing about these great fighters is also, because they are all in connection with Krishna, it is like about hearing about Krishna. So Krishna's fighting Leela, which he did in Kurukshetra, and Rasa Leela, which he did in Vrindavan, in the absolute plane, they are one and the same. They are not different, but Sahajyas, or the people who just do bhakti by emotion. They don't read Bhagavadgita, they don't read Shastras, they immediately jump to the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, and they would like to discuss about the topics of Rasa Leela, where Krishna danced with so many gopis. So they are like so much of sentimentalists and Sahajyas. They behave so nicely. Whenever they are in the group of assembly, they have tears coming out of their eyes and they show a lot of bodily symptoms. The moment they leave that satsang, they will go to their day-to-day life and they will do everything that is contradictory for devotion. So a devotee is the one who shows devotion to Krishna all the time, isn't it? So they differentiate between the two Leelas, like fighting Leela of Krishna and Ras Leela. But for the devotee, Krishna is the center. Whatever is connected with Krishna also becomes Krishna. So now we know that we have to deal with outsiders. Sometimes for collecting some donations, like right now for book marathon, we may approach somebody for donations, or for some Krishna conscious activities. We are dealing with many non-devotees, isn't it? So how can we, even though we are approaching the non-devotees who may not be the devotees of Krishna, But because this activity, whatever we are doing, is connected with Krishna, so this particular activity is also becoming Krishnized. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, because it is connected with Krishna, Yukta Vairagya Muchyate. Now we are all using different devices. We are using iPads, we are using laptops, we are using phones, and we are sitting in the home. These are all material energy of Krishna. But still, since we are using it to hear about Krishna, all these materials, matter, is also become spiritualized. Okay, so every activity that we do during our day, if we keep Krishna in the center, no matter it looks like a material activity, but because keeping Krishna in the center, those activity can become spiritualized. Okay, so one who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called Yukta Vairagya. What does Yukta Vairagya means? Acting in superior direction in Krishna consciousness. Because some Mayavad sannyasis, they say, I don't want to touch the money. If I touch the money, you know, Maya will attack me. I don't even want to touch the money. But without the money, how can you propagate Krishna consciousness? Is it not needed? How can we do the programs? How can we print the books? How can we give prasadam in the temple? How can the activity can go without the money, right? So Prabhupada said, you give me the money. I will let you know how to use it in Krishna's service. So every penny that Prabhupada received, he took it as a Krishna's mercy and he used it for the promotion of Krishna consciousness. And this is further explained by Rupa Goswami. Anasakta Vishayan Yadhartam Upayunjata Nirbanta Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya Muchate. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act, isn't it? We cannot cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called Yukta Vairagya. Some of us are working, isn't it? We are earning for the family, we are doing. So how can we Krishnaize our work? So at least whatever the little bit of portion of Lakshmi that we receive in the form of our salary, we can give it for the promotion of Krishna conscious activity. By doing that, our work is also getting spiritualized. It is just not the work that we are doing to maintain the family, but it is also used to please Krishna. Okay, Yasmin Tushto, Jagat Tushto. Krishna says, when Krishna is satisfied, the entire Jagat is satisfied. One does not think, okay, suppose I'm giving some 5% of my salary or 2-3%, I will be left out with less money. How will I manage my family? But Krishna will take care because you're helping Krishna. Your Lakshmi is giving in promotion of Krishna consciousness, where many other people are becoming devotees. So which means you're taking other people also closer to Krishna. They are going to stop the process of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. And our Lakshmi that we gave for the promotion of this activity is helping somebody to go back to Godhead. So we are immensely benefited by such activity. Okay, so actually situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind and the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization. So the person acts, but in what spirit the person acts? A person in Krishna conscious, not in the spirit of enjoying the whatever he got, but in the spirit of renunciation, using everything for the service of Krishna. Even though we are using the Lakshmi that we get for our family, we can think, this, my daughter is given to me, my son or daughter is given to me by Krishna's mercy. I have given the role of probably in charge of taking care of my children, and I'm being given in charge of taking care of my family and my husband's family. So when we are taking everybody in context with Krishna and when we serve them, then every activity that we do, it becomes spiritualized. So everything that we get, we should not look at the spirit of being an enjoyer, but we should look at a spirit of being renunciate. He becomes completely surrendered to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a way how one can surrender to Krishna, by acting in the sense of renunciation. Rupa Goswami did not say don't act. but he said how we should act. Therefore, at the end, he becomes liberated, and this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become one with Brahma Jyoti, but rather he enters into the planet of Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here that Mam Upaishati, he comes to me, back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 stages of liberation, which remember we saw in the previous classes. And here it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting this body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. And there is one more sloka from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Prapanchikatya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubir parigyato falgu vairagyam katyate. So, falgu vairagya and yukta vairagya. Falgu vairagya means inferior renunciation, false renunciation. Yukta vairagya means superior renunciation. Falgu vairagya means inferior renunciation. What is the difference? Prapanchitika buddhaya. The Mayavadi philosophers, they say they are giving up the world as false, Maya. Prapanchitaya buddha hari sambandhi vastuna. Just like sometimes we are criticized because we are using the advantage offered by the material science. Prabhupada said, just like I am using this microphone, so people may criticize. If this world is false, the material world is false, then why should I take advantage of this material product? They expect that those who are spiritualists, they should go to Himalayas, giving up everything material and meditate in the solitary place in a snow-covered area. But Vaishnava philosophy does not think like that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prithvi che ache yata nagara adi grama. He does not recommend, although he was sannyasi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi. He took sannyasa when he was just 24 years of age. He was in the renounced order of life. He gave up his family, his beautiful wife, very affectionate mother, very comfortable home, very prestige he had in Navadvip, too much of prestige of his personality in the society, but he gave up everything. He was in the prime age of his youthful life. He was just 24 years only, but he gave up everything. But after giving up everything, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? He did not say that you also give up everything and go and sit in a solitary place and meditate. He said that give Krishna consciousness to everybody. Jare te ko, tare kaho Krishna upadesh. Whomsoever we see, give them the upadesh of Krishna. He told that. He did not ask us to make them as a devotee, but he told them, give them the upadesh of Krishna. Tell them about Krishna. Give them Mahamantra. Give them an opportunity to chant. Invite them for the programs. Distribute books. Distribute prasadam. So Krishna consciousness has so many unlimited activities that even those person who is very, very unfavorable to Krishna consciousness also, we can give them the mercy just by giving them prasadam. Everybody likes to eat. If you're giving something very nice to eat, will the person reject?
No.
Yes, Shweta Mataji, you make a nice cupcake. Will anybody reject?
No.
No. But one thing what you can do is offer it to Krishna and distribute it.
Yeah.
So that becomes a prasadam. So all the people who are not ready to take up Krishna consciousness are still getting the mercy of taking the Krishna prasad, which is not different from Krishna. So we can understand that is why all these fighters' name is included. Like Prabhupada also gave an example. How is the cloud formed? Sun is the reason for the cloud to form. Isn't it? Without sun, the cloud can be formed?
No.
But the very cloud sometimes hide the sun.
Yeah.
It makes the sun disappear. Isn't it? We cannot see the sun on a cloudy day, right?
We cannot.
So similarly, Maya is also Krishna's energy, Krishna's separated energy. Krishna says in Bhagavadgita, Bhumi rapo nalo vayo kam mano buddhi revacha. earth, water, fire, ether, these and mind, intelligence, and false ego, these are all is separated material energy. So this particular energy of Krishna, some of us are too much into this energy of Maya, of the separated energy, that this, because we are so materialistic, that we are covered with the cloud of Maya, that we cannot see Krishna. Okay, so Maya is also just a covering which prevents us from realizing Krishna. So therefore, we have to take sadhanas to come out of the Maya. So what are the sadhanas one can do to come out of the Maya?
Chanting,
Yeah, chanting the Mahamantra. So
making prasadam.
taking prashadam, that's what sevonmukho hi jigvaho ata Sri Krishna namadi na bhave gragya indira. Prabhupada also quoted this sloka many times. Ata Sri Krishna namadi na bhave gragya indriya. Our senses are so blunt. With our material senses, we cannot realize Krishna. So sevonmukho hi jigvaho. But by utilizing our tongue, by serving Krishna, use your tongue to take Krishna Prasadam and use your tongue to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Just by doing this two simple activity, one can go back home, back to Godhead. That's what it says. Just by chanting Hare Krishna. So our tongue should take a vrata, like how Bhima took a heavy vrata, isn't it? And he did it. So we can also take a smaller vrata. Is it difficult for us to chant Mahamantra and to accept Prashadam?
No.
So just by doing this simple act, we can very easily come out of our Maya and go back to Krishna. Okay. So that is what Krishna says. He says that Mama Maya Duratyaya, Daivi Hesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratyaya. The Maya is very difficult to overcome because she is also my divine energy. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi. Because she is my divine energy, is very difficult to overcome. But in the next line, what does he say? Mame eva prapadyante maya metam tarantite. But one who is taking my shelter, they can easily come out of the Maya. So the only way in which we can come out of Maya, as given by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita, is
Surrender.
to surrender to him. And that's how he concludes the Gita also. Sarvadharman parityaksha mam ekam sharanam praja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami masuja. Okay. So I hope this explanation for these three slokas was good enough to all of you.
Yes.
Yes, Mother.
Okay. So is it all clear? Anybody has any questions on this? Any of these things that we discussed today?
No.
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 Is it all clear, Matajis?
Yeah.
Okay. So because our goal is to go to Krishna to obtain, so everything that we are doing, we are trying to connect to Krishna. Okay. Although it is just the fighter's name mentioned, so we try to see how just by chanting their names also we are connected to Krishna. Okay. So can we do the Narsimha prayers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who all have written Narsimha prayers in your notebook or somewhere? Who are all chanting Narsimha prayers every day?
Yeah, we do.
haven't started.
Okay, Mataji. It's very, very powerful prayer because Narsimha is the avatar of Krishna who came only for protection of his devotees. So just by chanting the Narsimha prayers, our devotion also gets protected. That's why at the end of every arati, Prabhupada has given us in the closing of every arati, we sing the Narsimha prayers because our devotion should also be protected, right? Without getting protection for our devotion, how long we can go? Isn't it? So
Yeah.
at the end of every class, let's sing the Narsimha prayer. So our devotion will be protected and we will advance in devotional service more and more and go back home, back to Godhead. Okay. Namaste Narasimhaya Praladaladaine Hiranyakashipurvashaka Shilatankanakalaye Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimho Bhagir Narsimho Hridaye Narsimho Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade Tava Kara Kamala Varena Kam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Narsimha Bhagwan ki Bhakti Shiromani Prahlad Maharaj ki Srila Prabhupada ki Okay, one quick question. How many of you have memorized the first sloka of Bhagavad Gita?
I have done it, but I did not post it, I
Okay,
think.
that's okay. You're posted or not, that's not my thing. My only question is who all have memorized? Everybody has memorized that sloka?
Yes.
Lekha Mataji, did you memorize that?
Yeah.
Okay, Mataji, it would be nice if you can put it in the group because it will also help others to be inspired and motivated. So we have 108 important slokas of Bhagavad Gita for memorizing. Actually, in the first chapter, we have only one sloka. But because when we go to second chapter, there are something like 20 slokas for memorizing. So what I will do is, as and when one sloka is over, just for memorizing, I will give other sloka and voice recording so that at least every month we can take some efforts to memorize at least like 3 slokas or so.
Okay.
At least
So
2-3 slokas. So by the end of the year, we will know at least some 30 slokas or 40 slokas by memory, which will be very, very useful for us to preach Krishna consciousness to others. Because when we are chanting the sloka of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that means Krishna is directly speaking to them. How much we can speak, how much we can explain. So always it's very important to memorize the important slokas of Bhagavad Gita. Let's do one thing. We are reciting the 5 important slokas of Bhagavad Gita before we start. So after this Dharma Kshetra, let us try to memorize those 5 slokas first.
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
Because
we will
those
do
are
that.
so 5 important
Yeah,
ones.
correct. They are also in one of the 108 slokas. So let us try to memorize those 5 slokas. So I will Manmanabha Madbhakto, I will give the recording and this one. So let us take some efforts to memorize the slokas because this is very, very powerful. When you're talking to your friends about Krishna consciousness and when you say Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Krishna said, that means Krishna is directly speaking to them. We are just repeating the words of Krishna. Because every Krishna consciousness is there in all the living entity. Only thing is, in some of them, it is in the dormant stage. So anybody whom we see, we should always, from our end, we should look them as a future devotee of Krishna at least. We should respect them, each and every living entity, as a devotee of Krishna. Anyway, they will become sometime in the future. That's what Krishna says. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Bahunam, after many, 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 many lifetime, the one with the knowledge understand that Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva is everything. Sa Mahatma Su Durlabha. Such a soul is very rare. But by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, we could see how the Krishna conscious movement have become so so much everywhere. And this is also a special month of book marathon, where Krishna has given Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and where Prabhupada has given us the program of book marathon. So it is very, very nice if each and every one of us could at least distribute 10 books of Prabhupada. It can be Bhagavad Gita, or it can be Krishna book, or it can be even Science of Self-Realization. But please take some efforts to distribute at least 10 books to your known circle, your friends and relatives, or somebody in your society who are like working as a security or working in the office of your. And by doing this act, we get immense benefit, and this will definitely helps us in Krishna consciousness, as we saw. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. So how can we come into the stage of renunciation? We are all working and we are receiving some Lakshmi as a part of the work. So a little bit of it, at least we can use it in the service of Krishna. And the greatest service is distributing Srila Prabhupada book. And these books can change the heart of people. So there are so many people in the West, they were hippies, they were meat eaters, they were drunkens and everything, and who have all changed tremendously. They transformed, and today they are all very, very great sannyasis. My own Guru Maharaj came to Krishna consciousness because he read Krishna book in one of his friends' home. So that very Krishna book has brought him into devotion, and today he's one of the initiating guru in ISKCON, who has more than 4,000, 5,000 disciples all over the world. So we can understand how in such an elevated position one became just by reading Srila Prabhupada's book, because Prabhupada's books are so potent. So I request each and every one of you, please take little bit of efforts to distribute Srila Prabhupada's book. Okay, Matajis?
Okay.
And especially those societies where not much book distribution has happened, it is a very good opportunity to go out and reach out to people as much as possible. So please try to participate in the book marathon activity of Srila Prabhupada. It's also holiday time. People spend on many, many things. So why not they spend a little bit of donation for Krishna? And when they are giving their Lakshmi to Krishna, their money is becoming Krishnized. Whatever the way they earn their money, that money is going to give them a spiritual credit. Imagine the kind of blessings that you are giving to your friends by making them involved in this activity. And this is one particular thing. See, even for us, before even we were in Krishna consciousness, when somebody approached, we have just given some books because they approached us. And probably I feel this very act has brought us in Krishna consciousness. And today, this very act has made me into a kind of a devotee. I don't know, I'm yet a devotee, but trying to be a devotee and could talk something about Krishna. So each and every one of us will get immense benefit through this process of book distribution. Not only to you, you're all already doing little bit of chanting, hearing. Please extend these blessings to your friends and relatives. Everybody can spare at least one book of Bhagavad Gita, which is hardly 250, 300 rupees in Indian value. It's not at all much. It's just a cost of a pizza or a burger in McDonald's, right? So just try to approach your friends and give them the benefit of distributing the Prabhupada book. If they don't want to take book for themselves, they have Krishna book is also very nice. Shweta Mataji, you can say something about Krishna book that you're reading. How do you find by reading the Krishna book?
Yeah, actually, I thought that, it would be just maybe I will not be able to connect, but once I started, I just took a sankalp, at least I'll read one page of it. But I'm so hooked on to that book that I don't leave a chapter in between. I finish it off, even if it takes a little more time than what I had taken sankalp for.
Yeah. But is it not very pleasing, Mataji, when you read?
It
How
is,
do you
it
find
is, it is, because it tells you so much about Krishna, about his pastimes, about how things went, and how these things are connected to with each other. So, and it is just how you're reading any novel. Don't
Exactly. But philosophy is ingrained.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
very beautiful way of Prabhupada's writing. Like, everybody likes to read novels. Everybody likes to read something. People read Harry Potter, I don't know, Percy Jackson, what all, they all read something or the other, all the material. So they will get the same happiness by reading Krishna book, because Krishna, there are so many adventures of Krishna. like Shalya, like Bhanasura, like Ranchor, how Krishna left and he jumped from 16,000 high feet mountain. So you will get all the adventure, thrill, romance, whatever it is. Everything that one is attracted in this material world, one can also get it. But here, why you get purified? Because everything is connected with Krishna. Harry Potter is not connected with Krishna, isn't it? Percy
Yeah.
Jackson is not connected with Krishna, but Krishna book is connected with Krishna, isn't it? So that is the way in which, of course, as we say, Krishna in the form of Paramatma is there in every living entity for that matter. But we are all in the forgotten state. So all we need to do is revive their consciousness constantly. Try to bring your friends. I know you care for your friends, you love your friends. If you love your friends, what would you do to them? Do you like them to suffer? We know that we are not the body, we are the soul. Would you not like them also to come along with you in the spiritual world? So then how do you get somewhere or the other? Krishna gives us an intelligence to get in them. And this is a very good opportunity of the book marathon where we can get them involved in this transcendental book distribution. So please, my request again to participate in this book marathon activity. Okay, Matajis? Okay. Vancha kalpata rubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.